the time has come for you to roll over your 401k. But before you do that, wait. Just give it a minute. Let's pause.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Because if you don't take pause and make sure that you're doing things the way that you should be doing, then there's a good chance you're going to be giving more of it over to Uncle Sam than you need to.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. This is Michigan's retirement coach, certified financial planner, Mike Douglas. I'm Heather Branch, here to ask Mike how we can know better so that we can do better when it comes to our financial future. Because, Mike, we're at a place, it's the boomer peak. Is that what is the terminology?
Peak 65.
Peak 65, where we've got 10,000 people a day turning 65. Is that right?
Yeah.
And as the baby boomers are hitting retirement age and going into retirement, millions are rolling over money from their employer 401k plans to traditional IRAs as they retire. But an article on Morningstar.com is throwing up a warning flag saying you must make sure your rollover does not create unintended tax consequences. So you tell us then, Mike, what do they mean? What are these consequences that we could run into? More importantly, how do you help people prevent from making these kinds of mistakes?
Yeah, I think that the biggest issue we have is we're talking about people take their 401ks and they want to roll it over so they can use it in retirement.
Sure.
And a lot of people are educated, but there still seems like it's a question that comes up all the time with people is how do I get this money out of my 401k account? So here's the basics of it. You need to open up an IRA somewhere else.
Okay.
Go to Schwab, Fidelity, E-Trade, wherever. You need to open up an IRA somewhere that's not your 401k. And then you take money from your 401k and move it directly over to your IRA. Okay. Never let it go to your bank. Never let it be cashed by you. Then you cut a check back or whatever. You don't want to do that because the tax consequences come when you let them cut checks to your name, which sounds weird because it's your money. Right. You should be able to just use it. But the reality is, according to the IRS, this is a tax-deferred account for the benefit of Mike Douglas, Heather Branch, right? Like it's for the benefit of you. Mm-hmm. And then when you take it and you put it in your bank account, it's no longer held at Empower or at Voya or at Schwab or at wherever. Okay. Now it's yours. So this tax-deferred vehicle has been distributed to you. Whenever you take distributions from your retirement accounts, if it's a 401k that's never been taxed, it's taxable. So if you take it, put it in your account, you have 60 days to put it back into an IRA. If you don't do it within 60 days, the whole thing is taxable. Okay, well, that's not a big deal. I'll just cut a check. Yep, that's the plan. And as long as you do that, that's okay. And you can do that one time a year. Well, a rolling year, not a calendar year, but rolling 12. So if I do it today, May 12th, then I can't do it again until next year, May 12th.
Okay.
And that's one thing. That's called a rollover, or a direct rollover. If the money comes to you, you take the distribution and then you cut a check there. That's a rollover IRA, but not the one that goes direct custodian to custodian. So an indirect means it comes to you and then you put it back in. A direct says that if I have money at Empower or Voya or wherever, Fidelity, and I'm going to send it to my Schwab IRA that's open. It's a pre-tax account to a pre-tax account. So it's going to go from one to the other. So they never actually cut a check to me. They don't cut a check to you. They just cut a check to the custodian. Okay. To the other firm. So Fidelity cuts a check to Schwab and it says to Charles Schwab Institutional, FBO, or for the benefit of Mike Douglas, Heather Branch, whomever's out there watching, right? Your benefit. If it goes custodian to custodian, there's no way it can be taxable. No way. Okay. So there's no way you can screw that up. As long as you do it right, call them, tell them exactly what you want, tell them where you want it to go. That's what you do. That is the biggest risk. And there's this whole thing that they have put out for you called a special tax notice. It's a multi-page document where they're asking if you understand the risk of rolling money over. There's not a risk of rolling money over from the sake of like a stock market risk or a credit risk. It's a tax risk. You do it wrong, you pay taxes. Okay. So the reason I don't like the 60-day one is you take the money, they send you a check, you put it in your bank account, you say, I'm going to cut a check to them on Monday.
Mhm.
Over the weekend, we're in a car accident, we're incapacitated, we go through physical therapy or a coma or whatever. And all of a sudden now we forget to get that check cut.
Mhm.
60 days goes by. Now it's all taxable this year as though I earned it all this year, or I took it as a distribution this year, and there's no going back.
Mhm.
So that's the problem if you do it that way. When you're moving money over from account to account, that's what you need to understand. We just sat down with some clients who they're getting ready to retire. He's ready to retire at the end of the year. She's
Yeah.
already out. And as we walked through with them, I said, we're going to go down our checklist of 5 reasons to roll your money. If we can't answer all 5 of these the right way, then maybe we shouldn't move it.
Okay.
And they said, okay. And they said, but I'm retiring at the end of the year. Should we do it now? Well, you're over 59 and a half. So yeah, we should probably do it now and start getting ready for retirement. But let's answer the 5 questions. So the first question we have to answer, what type of money is this? Like I mentioned, is it pre-tax? Is it a 401k? Is it a Roth 401k? Is it an after-tax account? Like understand the tax classification to make sure you have the right other account ready to receive it.
Okay.
So number 1, what type of money is this? Number 2, what are the fees inside this account? Because if someone says you need to roll it out, you say, where's it going? Well, it's going to this over here. Okay, well, what am I currently paying in fees in the 401k? What if my fees are really, really low? Why would I leave a low fee account to go to a high fee account with someone else? That's a question you should have a good answer for.
Sure.
That leads to the third question, is where I'm going better than where I am? People will tell you all the time to roll your money over to them, but is it actually better than what I'm currently doing? If they say roll your money over and I'll buy you a U.S. large cap fund and we're going to buy this, great. You can probably get something relatively similar, unless they're really creative financially, relatively similar in your 401k for a lower fee. So maybe you should leave it there.
Okay.
If they make a good reason though, again, I'm an advisor. I can make a good reason for most people why we should move it.
Okay.
But just understand that is where I'm going better than where I am. And then number 4, should I leave some money behind? Does it make sense to leave something in the 401k? Well, Mike, why the heck would I leave it in a 401k if I can roll it out?
Right.
If you retire before 59 and a half, I just had a fireman that he was retiring out. And as we're going through, he said, let's get this all rolled over to you. And I said, hold on a second. You're 55 years old.
Okay.
You're retiring. And there's this 59 and a half rule in all IRAs. You put money in an IRA, even if it's a rollover. Now, if you touch that money before age 59 and a half, there's a 10% penalty on any income you take from it. You're 55. We're retired and we want to live on some money until you hit age 59 and a half. So we figured out, so we figured out how much money he needs to leave in his 401k, because a 401k says if you're 55 or older and separated service, you can leave money in the 401k and pull it out without a 10% penalty.
But you have to be 55 or older. So there's there's a window between the age of 55 and 59 and a half. You can take the money out of, if you leave it in the 401k, you can start withdrawing from that without penalty.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, there's some other strategies like a 72T or other strategies you can use to access money early without penalty, but now you're getting to really tight restrictions, really specific rules of the IRS, and I can't speak for everybody watching. I don't try to get into any unnecessary deals with the IRS.
Seems legit.
I think they're very nice people, especially if you're watching. I think they're very nice people. Wonderfully sweet, well-intentioned people, but I'm not trying to do any extra deals with the IRS than I have to. So a 72T is an extra contract with them that I don't like.
Okay.
It's necessary sometimes though. We've had people, we do them, and it's a necessary deal. But other than that, should you leave some money in that 401k? That way you can access. So for him, I was like, all right, Mike, we got to leave it here in this 401k. That way you have everything you need for the next 4 or 5 years. And the money beyond that, we took and invested the right way for what they want retirement to look like. The 5th thing is this new person that I'm talking to who's suggesting I move my money out of my 401k actually a fiduciary, or are they a salesperson? Are they actually working in my best interest, or are they nice people with a good presentation and they're telling me I should be safer and not as at risk? Again, I think that the investments can be good or bad. Depends on what time of life and what type of investments you are. And so most investments, I can't say specifically they're always bad or always good.
Right.
However, I do think that if someone comes in and says, you should buy an annuity, why? Well, because you want safety. Okay, good. Are you licensed to talk about the stock market? Do you manage money in the stock market as well? Is this one of the tools or is this the only thing you do?
Yeah.
If they say it's the only thing they do, okay, well, then they do know all the annuities. They're probably very good at that, but they can't even give you the advice to take money. They're not even licensed to tell you to sell your mutual funds in the 401k to bring it over to the annuity. So that's not appropriate. At the same time, some people will tell you never put an annuity, to put it in the market. Do you have a life and health insurance license? Are you licensed to sell annuities? Or are you only Series 7 or Series 6 or 60? What is your licensing? Are you even allowed to talk about annuities?
Mm-hmm.
Are you versed in them? Do you know how they work? So I think that a lot of times we get these people who sell to us from different sides of the fence. They just yell at you and say, hey, you should get this, you should not get that.
Mm-hmm.
A fiduciary stands with you and says, all right, based on your family, based on your income needs, based on your desires, based on market trends and everything else, here's the comprehensive portfolio. We need something for income, something for longevity, something for long-term care, something for risk management, something for estate planning, something for tax strategies. All these things need to be built in a way that says, here's your options. Here's how I, as the fiduciary advisor, get compensated for each of the options presented.
Mm-hmm.
You choose what makes the most sense for you and we'll make it happen. So when we sit down with someone and they say, hey, how do I do this? Say, okay, well, you can get income from a general market portfolio, of preferred stocks or dividends, or an annuity. I don't care which one you use. I get paid this by the insurance company or this from your portfolios. It doesn't matter to me either way. Just choose the one you want. Okay. And that at least lets them know exactly where I stand, what my preferences are, how I get paid. Because I'm not doing it altruistically. I'm not just giving my time. We're running a firm and we're taking care of clients. But that's the difference in a fiduciary versus a salesman. Full transparency on fee structures, full transparency on what's best for you, and helping you choose what makes the most sense. If you can answer these 5 questions really well, what type of money is this? What are the fees where I'm currently paying? Is where I'm going better than where I am? Should I leave some money behind to cover me if I'm young? And then am I actually working with a good fiduciary? Are they a certified financial planner? How are they licensed? How are they regulated? How are they compensated? Those are the 5 questions you need to have good answers for. Once you have those, then you can make a good, informed, comfortable decision. So just understanding the setup is a really, really good part. So with John and Kim, we were able to walk them through these 5 steps.
Yeah.
Should you move out? Here's why. You're both 59 and a half or older. There's no need to leave anything behind. Here's how we would get income. And so as we chose those things, they said, all right, this makes sense. They were able to answer all 5 questions appropriately and feel comfortable moving forward. That is how you bring peace into what's kind of a complicated process.
Yeah.
If you're trying to understand it, trying to work through it, the biggest thing is I just don't want to make the stupid mistakes that happen and pay a bunch of taxes.
Those nightmare stories you read about online. You don't want to be that guy. Yeah.
Right. And you can see how something as simple as I'm retiring and want to move my money out can really spiral into a deep conversation about the purpose of the money and the person you're working with. Understanding those things helps you make the right decision. So number 1, don't make the mistake of being taxed when you don't have to be.
Right.
But number 2, understand exactly what you're getting into, who you're getting into it with, and if it makes sense for you. These are the conversations we have when people do reach out to us, through the podcast or from our radio show or TV, or even if they're just, calling us. These are the conversations we have. The Michigan's Retirement Coach whole idea is just to sit down, help people understand where they're coming from, where they're going, and build a plan that makes sense for them. So michigansretirementcoach.com. Reach out, send us a message, comment here on this video, and we'll talk and see if we can answer your questions.
Mike loves the podcast space. He's here to have more of a conversation. It's his favorite. He's here to have more conversations, and just the idea of having a platform of being able to inform people so that they can make more knowledgeable decisions moving forward with your money that you've worked so hard to earn and save. This is what Mike wants for you. So again, michigansretirementcoach.com, or we also have links to everything posted in the show notes. So if it's easier, you can just click there to start the conversation.